Naturally, for the state of Florida, the cold weather, let alone the freezing weather, is going to steal the limelight. But there's a couple of other factors I really want us to start getting ahead of as we prepare for what's expected to arrive on our doorstep Saturday and then especially Sunday. So let's all take a look ahead. This is a wide look at the national view for the United States. And I want you to notice what's going on out there in the Snake River Valley, the Intermountain West, the Central Rockies. See that little kink in the jet stream? That's our next system that's expected to continue to move through the Rockies and emerge out into the Great Plains and then plunge its way down towards the southeast, where we start to see a little area of low pressure form up by Friday. Now, it's not going to be anything close to what just occurred with our initial winter storm that dumped heavy amounts of snowfall, freezing rain, ice, knocked out power. We're only going to have a subtle reemergence of showers and snow with additional rainfall extending back through the Gulf. It's not until Saturday. We'll take a look at that. Low pressure really begins to spin up into our next nor'easter. Now, I know it's more of a tropical term, but I'm expecting this thing to kind of rapidly intensify as soon as it moves out of the southeast United States and begins to interact with those warmer waters of the westernmost Atlantic Ocean and the very cold temperatures that are coming down with our next trough. Couple that with, you get what's called a negative tilt. The trough itself tilts in a certain way that helps to speed up how fast a low pressure down in the low levels kind of strengthens. And as a result, we're going to get a very hefty low pressure storm just off the Hatteras coastline, the Cape Hatteras area of North Carolina. As that continues to strengthen and very dominant Arctic high pressure comes all the way down to the Gulf coastline of the Western Gulf, we're going to be in for some very gusty winds here in Central Florida. And that's what I really want us to talk about. There's going to be a shot for rain, but watch these winds as the front sweeps across. So this is 2 a.m., very early Saturday morning. We're into the last day of January. This is the 31st. Look at how the pressure difference really begins to stack up off our Gulf Coast. Right now, looking at 10, 15 mile an hour winds as the front comes through, but then you fast forward a little bit, and as the front continues off towards the east, and mind you, now we're starting to see our storm system up towards the northeast get its act together. So we're seeing that difference in pressure, the gradient from high to low pressure strengthen. And look at how these winds really get to rocking and rolling, not only off the coastline where we're well up into tropical storm force conditions, but even here in interior Central Florida. Moving over to the European model, I have a different color gradient here for you. I want us to look closely at what happens as we go through the second half of Saturday. So the front has come through. This is 11 o'clock in the morning. We probably saw a little bit of morning showers, maybe some rainfall out there, depending on exactly where the low and the energy associated with it decides to set itself up. But then as we go into the afternoon, you see those shades of yellow. What I'm actually using to kind of paint the picture for you all is our tropical storm overlay. That's the tropical storm color gradient there. And wherever you see the shades of yellow, that means we could be gusting upwards of tropical storm intensity. So this is going to be a very interesting event. Couple that with the frigid, freezing cold temperatures that are going to come down, and it's going to be kind of I would almost argue, an outlandish weekend for us Central Floridians. So what can you do to prepare alongside the cold weather prep? I do want you to kind of get ready for some of those post-frontal winds. Protect the plants. We already know that. And other garden items. You'll want to secure these loose items and other objects that may be lofted or tossed over. I'll openly admit my family and I still have a mess on our back porch because we haven't had time since the last situation where this unfolded. Pots and plants and dirt and all that got everywhere. So definitely bring your things in, any kids' toys, things that you don't want to have a couple neighborhoods down there or neighbor yards down the road or back in the front. I remember a couple times where there was wind events and saw garbage cans and other incidentals going down the other end of the block. So just be careful and make sure you keep a cellular device or the News 6 Plus app available so you can get all the weather updates as we rock through this situation together.